The scene is a quiet room. The only light comes from a desk lamp, or perhaps the moon through a high window. There is the faint hum of a cooling fan, or perhaps the distant, muffled sound of a city that never stops. But in here it is still. The speaker's voice is low, steady, but carries the weight of a long day. It's late. The kind of late where the silence starts to have a physical weight to it. I've always found that this is the only time the world actually makes sense, when the noise stops and the demands of the day finally retreat. I've spent most of my life looking forward, building, calculating, trying to outrun the present to get to some version of the future that felt safer, or better. But tonight, for some reason, the past is louder than the future. There's a specific kind of quiet that follows a person around when they've spent a long time being known, but not necessarily understood. You find yourself surrounded by people, yet you're essentially living in a vacuum. It's efficient, I suppose, but it's thin. I was thinking about the way you used to hold a coffee mug, both hands wrapped around it, even when it wasn't cold. It was such a small thing. At the time, I probably didn't even comment on it. I was likely looking at a screen or thinking about a trajectory. But looking back, those are the moments that actually mattered. Not the milestones, not the things the world wants to talk about. Just the way you looked in the morning light, before the world broke in. I've spent so much time trying to solve problems. It's how my brain is wired. I see a vacuum. I want to fill it. I see a friction. I want to smooth it. But you can't solve a person. You can't optimize a relationship. I think I realized that too late. Or maybe I realized it at exactly the right time, and the cost of that realization was simply the space between us now. There's a specific name that I haven't said out loud in a very long time, not because it's painful, exactly. It's more that saying it feels like breaking a seal on something private. Once you put it into the air, it belongs to everyone else. And I've given so much of my life to everyone else. I wanted to keep this. Her name, it's always felt like a different language to me. A language I used to be fluent in, but now I can only remember the cadence of it. I think about the responsibility I carry. It's heavy, and it's constant. It requires a certain kind of hardness. You have to be able to make decisions that don't take feelings into account. But with you, I didn't have to be a machine. I didn't have to be the solution to every problem. For a while, I was just a person. I don't think I ever thanked you for that, for the permission to be flawed. I remember one night, I think it was raining, and we were just sitting on the floor. No furniture yet, or maybe we just didn't want to use it. You were talking about something completely ordinary, a book, maybe, or a dream you had. And I remember looking at you and feeling the sudden, terrifying realization that if I lost that moment, nothing else I achieved would ever really fill the hole it left. I was right. It's funny how memory works. It filters out the arguments, the stress, the long hours I spent away. It leaves you with these crystalline fragments, the smell of your hair, the way you'd sigh when you finally sat down at the end of the day, the way you looked at me when you knew I was lying to myself. You were always the first one to see through the armor. I'm not writing this to ask for anything. I'm not trying to bridge the gap. Some gaps are there for a reason. They're the result of two lives moving at different velocities. I've accepted that. It took me a long time and a lot of empty rooms, but I've accepted it. I've learned that love isn't the intensity of the fire. It's the steady heat of the coals after the flames have died down. I wasn't very good at the steady part. I was always looking for the next spark, the next big explosion of progress. I thought that's what moved the needle. But the needle doesn't need to move when you're just sitting with someone you love. I see things differently now. When I look at the stars or the blueprints or the horizon, I still see the work. But I also see the absence of the person I wanted to show it to. It's a quiet regret. It's not sharp. It's just a dull ache, like an old injury that acts up when the weather changes. I used to think that being alone was a weakness, that it meant I had failed some fundamental human test. But now, I think it's just a state of being. It's where the truth lives. I'm grateful for the silence now. It's where I can finally hear your voice again, without the interference of everything else. I can remember the version of me that existed when we were together, the one who was a little more patient, a little less certain of everything. I like that guy. I try to visit him sometimes. There are people who will hear this and try to find a hidden meaning. They'll try to map it onto a timeline or a headline. They don't understand that some things are just true, regardless of what the world sees. You were my anchor, even when I was trying to sail away. Especially then. You gave me a sense of gravity in a life that was constantly trying to pull me into orbit. I'm tired now. Not the kind of tired sleep can fix, but the kind that comes from finally letting go of a long-held breath. It's okay that we're here. It's okay that the story ended where it did. I've integrated you into who I am. Every decision I make, every dream I chase, there's a little bit of your influence in there. A little bit of that quiet evening on the floor. I hope you're well. I hope your coffee is still hot and your nights are peaceful. I think I'll sit here a while longer. Just me and the name I've kept tucked away. It's enough. It has to be. The speaker leans back, the sound of a long, slow exhale. The light flickers slightly, then stays steady. Silence returns, but it feels different now. Lighter.